like to first begin by sending our condolences to all of the families who have lost their family members to gun violence. On behalf of Hope Dealers Outreach, we would like to welcome all of our guests here today, those who are fortunate enough to be here with us in person, and those who are watching and attending virtually. And thank you to all of our press who is also here for their interest in this matter and participation in this event. I will now briefly introduce our guests. We have Tracy Scales, Trivian McClellan, Yvette Wooten, David Villado, Lisa Simpson, Ethan King, and our speaker, Frankie. I would like to begin by introducing Tracy Scales. I would also like to introduce Trivian McClellan. How are y'all?
Hi, I'm Caribbean McCullough, and I lost my best friend to gun violence at the age of 19 in 2017. She was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting on Rich Avenue, and unfortunately she lost her life behind it and is not here with us today. As far as me making a difference in this, I started a nonprofit organization for youth in her name that will be called Dawn and Grace. And the goal for the organization is just to get our youth together because they are our future. We have limited time here and they're who builds the difference in the upcoming world. So we will be doing community service throughout the community with Ronald McDonald House, Lincoln Inn. It's just a lot going on. I feel like as far as education, a lot of this will be minimized if people were educated on how to use guns and how to effectively just carry out the violence of things that's going on in our home. So I feel like the organization will be a big impact on the community. I feel like the gun violence in our community is at a max and it's very unsafe out here right now, and it's a threat. And I wanted to come here today and stand in my friend's name to let y'all know that her name lives on forever, and I will be doing everything I can to affect the community to just lower these things going on. And I thank y'all for your time for coming out here, and just thank you.
Thank you for speaking. We will next introduce Yvette Wooten.
How y'all doing?
All right.
My name is Yvette Wooten, and my son's name is Sean Elliott Mitchell Jr. And my son was killed in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and he resided here, and he was killed March 19, 2019 in High Point, North Carolina. And I mean, I understand my son didn't get killed here in his own city, but I still reach out to all the mothers. And the thing that me and my 4 daughters has, started up when he got killed, it's called the Sosa Bunch. And it's for all the mothers that we all can come together and, just grieve and, just try to speak on some things or try to come together to help out other mothers. I mean, I can reach out to other kids as well, as far as my son got killed when he was 26 years old. But like I say, that morning, he was in High Point with his girlfriend. And my son was always the type of young man, he liked to reach out to people, help people. So that particular morning, he seen his girlfriend friends fight. So he took it upon himself to try to help out and break the fight up. And the young man just came around all the young people and shot him in the back of the head and shot 2 other females. And, it's some days it bothers me, some days I have to grasp and, get a hold of myself, cause, I try to stay strong for my daughters, but the main thing that I'm really trying to focus on is the system. And, I'm just trying to find somebody in Raleigh or speak to somebody in Raleigh about the system, and the laws of killing someone. You get so much time selling drugs than killing somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I think that needs to be really put out there, because there's so many people out here killing people, and it's other people seeing people kill other people, but they see they get less of time. And I truly think that they're immune to that now, because they see these murders are not getting no time. They're not getting the time they need to get, But like I say, March 10th will always be in my mind, because my son had to get killed like that. And the young man that killed my son, this is why I'm trying to talk about the system. And then my son got killed by a man who had violated parole, and he shot somebody in 2017, but the system let this man out. Within 2 years, he killed my son. You know what I'm saying? But it's the point, the young man that shot him here back about the beginning of May, the young man that shot him, he's locked up. I ain't gonna have a bond, none of that. But the man that killed my son and, shot 2 other people, this man got a bond. I understand, I understand it was told to me that he's able to, everybody's able to get a bond, but how can you get a bond and then all of a sudden the judge gonna look at this man and knock it down to $500,000 and you done bonded out? You enjoying life and all this and that, I'm just not, I just need to speak to somebody in Raleigh. If anybody can actually just point me to the right direction, I wanna get there, because it's not right. Because if you kill somebody and then the judge just gonna give him a bond, I understand there's no capital punishment in the state of Oklahoma. I'm from Virginia, Commonwealth, and truly it's a different state. But still, if you kill somebody, you should even have no right to have a bond, But I'm just being focused on trying to figure out who I can really speak to in Raleigh, because these laws need to be changed. They really do. They're more focused on these drug dealers and these killers, and it's sad. So, I pray every day. I just pray every day, because I never thought in a million years that I had to kill. I had to bury my son for no reason. My son was killed for no reason. Of course, during these bond hearings, the judge tried to, I don't know, I guess he was trying to get up some record about my son. My son was in felony. The Winston-Salem Police Department never had to chase my son for no drugs, no guns, none of that stuff. So I feel like my son needed the right type of justice. True indeed, he got a justice. The young man killed my son that morning, but the marshals caught him in Orlando, Florida. But if you didn't kill my son, why did you run? You see what I'm saying? But I just want the right type of justice for my son, because he shouldn't have left it like that. So just keep me in prayer, and like I said, anybody I can speak to in Raleigh, just point me to it. That's all I need.
So we're just going to briefly reflect on the lives of LaDon Morgan and Sean Mitchell. And we thank you for speaking on their behalf today. So we will next hear from David Villada. We will be hearing from Lisa Simpson.
Good morning. Good evening.
son lost his life September 16, 2016. He's always with me. His spirit for as long as I live. His name and his great memories will live on. Come on, I had a beautiful smile and a warm, kind heart. My son's case is still sitting unsolved cases. I know God will continually guide me. Those of you who know the word of prayer, continue to keep me and my family in your prayer. I will do the same for you, but no weapon formed shall prosper.
We will now be hearing from Ethan King, board chair.
Good morning, evening, whatever time it is, and thank you guys for coming out, and my condolences to Miss Yvette and Miss Lisa. It is a very disappointment of the tragic events that are happening here in Winston-Salem. Of course, these issues are all across the board, but more particularly in Winston-Salem, back to back, back to back, back to back. Some of these issues have happened a while back. I want to say it was can't remember which community it was. The sheriff was out there. Bobby Kimbrough and his team were giving back to the community. There were shootings going on. While our Winston-Salem Police Department are out, nowhere, never to be found when things are going on. They hold press conferences when they want to, speak on matters when they want to. On April 30th, Assistant Chief William Penn told citizens in the video that the new vehicles had a lot more room and comfortable seats to sit in, and it comes with more space. So we know what their objective and their goal is. It's not out to go and get these victims that are out here killing people, right? It's to do PR and marketing videos. And when did police cars become comfortable? Normally when you get behind a police car, it's not because of a good thing. So we up here talking about comfortable seats. Then they talked about how they received calls from residents about speeding, scaring the people in our neighborhood because of loud music, revoked license, no insurance, and other things that they're pulling the people over. Of course, if you look at the statistics, that's a 1%. Where we got shootings going on in the community. I find it very odd how you have time to pull people over, go bust drug houses. Now you gotta do a whole lot to go bust a house for a drug. But let a shooting pop off while I'm speaking right now. Oh, they lost. They don't know what happened. They don't have no witnesses. We gotta do more report. Report on what? The video is live there. You telling me your system ain't good enough to scan the person's face and pull them up on the system? You got new cars now, 62 vehicles. oh, but we don't have enough officers to handle the situation that's going on. Well, we can buy new vehicles. Well, who are the vehicles going to? Yesterday, Chief Thompson, if I'm correct, had a briefing. Of course, as you know, she pick and choose when she wants to speak and when she wants to appear to things in the community. She said, we're telling people what we're doing to end gun violence. Only 2 people came to speak from us from the neighborhood. A lot of it is captured and discussed on social media. You can't do it alone. It's not a police problem, it's a community problem. We're telling, and now we want to know what others are going to invest to stop these crimes. That was her remarks. And then she goes on to say, we are talking, we are reading, researching, brainstorming, and thinking of new ideas to end gun violence. Going to training, talking to colleagues, and doing everything we can to stop this. Not in the community, checking up on the people, saying how you doing, just being on stand guard. We talking about brainstorm. What you brainstorming on, honey? What is there to brainstorm about? You go to all this training, all these academies, and you telling me you don't know a solution by now? 27 years in law enforcement, you the chief, you don't know nothing now? I'm going to end to close with, we got to check our priorities. Check your priorities. Check your priorities. Get more involved in the community. Not to harass the homeless, which they've been doing lately. You got time to do that. You should put that same time in an investment to go in, speak to people. Talk to these mothers. When was the last time you knocked on their door? Send a card, or tell her you're thinking about her. That's where you start. This all comes down to respect. If you respect your citizens, then you will get more responses from the community. But nobody wants to talk to a rude old nag person with a badge because they are law enforcement. I yield my time.
We will now hear from Tracy Scales.
Good afternoon. My name is Tracy Scales, and I lost my son on May 27, 2016. There were a drive-by that took place here in Winston-Salem on May 26th of 2016. A drive-by took place. I was outside with my family. It was 8 of us out there. I also was there. It was 8 of us, 2 of my children, my sister, my little nephew. We all out just in a gathering, having family talk. And we see a car come down the street, but of course, we're not thinking anything. I think you're looking to see if you looking for somebody's place. So as the car proceeded on down the street, the car just halted. Me and my sister standing here on her porch, and gunfire just began to ring. And I mean, over 30 rounds of ammunition we were shot at. 30 rounds. God was with us, but God also took my son. My son got surprised from his injuries. He got 1 shot to the stomach. He got to Baptist, whatever took place there, I lost my son in surgery the next day. I should have done, but God blocked it. He left me here to stay, and I've been in a dark place, a broken mother, for 5 years. I'm beginning to come out of darkness. God has delivered me. He's healing me. And He's time for me to speak, because no one, as this young man said, I haven't heard from the police department. I haven't heard one word from anybody. I have researched myself. I have went to court, and before that, someone broke in my house. But at the end of the day, I'm here to talk about the loss of my son. My son was an entrepreneur. He was a graduate of Winston-Salem State University, 2011, in rehabilitation studies. My son started 2 businesses in 2014, 2015. He was a great young man. He was friends to many. If anybody asked his name, he was an athlete from Mount Tabor. I kept my kids involved. I led them on a path. I graduated from Winston-Salem State. I have another child graduated from Winston-Salem State. I have a son that went to Forsyth Tech. I raised great men, and I raised a great daughter. And to stand here to say that I have no justice for my son, I am a paying citizen. I was treated as if I killed my own son. To be honest with you, that's how I was treated. I was ashamed. I was running. I've been running for my life for 5 years. I had my own. I built a home out in Pufftown. I left it today. I lost my son. I've been hiding. I don't know these people out here. I don't know their reason and ram. But all I know, when people don't fight for their children and support their children, other people's children become victims. Parents got to stand up and take heed of their own children's life. Teach them not where you come from, but where you're going. You may live in poverty, but education is your key to be a better person, to be a better citizen. Think about the future. You know your kids out here doing things. Nobody want to talk. We don't protect the witnesses. When you sit up here and you get out here and you want people to come forward, but they don't trust the police department. They're very disrespectful. From the detective to everyone I spoke to, from the break-in of my home to the death of my son. He was my protector. He was my oldest child. His 7-year-old daughter was in there. Now, I don't know what happened out there, because he never told me nothing, but I can remember one time he ran a young man in the courtroom a year later. This happened in 2013 and now to 2016. My son said, you broke in my mother's house, and they can go to the courthouse and run the tape because it's there. Even his attorney, when we was there, he witnessed it. And I told my son the battle's the Lord's. They didn't get much. Don't worry about it. But his child was there. His mother was there. From there, I can't say what he may have said to someone, what he may have found out. But if my son can get out here in these streets and figure out who broke in his mother's house with guns on his kids and lose his life for me and my granddaughter, the police department can get out here and do their job as well. Now, enough is enough. I'm tired. I want justice for my sons. Then 3 years later, 3 years, 1 week, and 2 days later, I lose my son-in-law. My daughter's out at Punta Cana, just graduated from Winston-Salem State in 2019. She's out of the country. We just celebrated her graduation from Winston-Salem State. I go get her children from their dad. He goes over here to a block party on Cody Drive. He gets killed, and another young man gets killed out there. No justice. No justice. We gotta, in order for this community to come together, people gotta stand up, and we gotta protect our witnesses, and we gotta do better in our community. And when you know something, you gotta say something. And at this day and time, I'm ready to stand. I'm ready to fight for mine. I'm ready. I have a lot to say. A whole lot to say that I can't say right here. But it's a lot I want to say. Because I have not got justice for my son. It's been 2016. I haven't heard a soul from no one about anything. Not even about the fact that anybody even coming to me when someone broke in my home. It made me feel like I was the victim. I broke in my own house. Really? It's a shame how our system is set up to think that everything is about drugs or something. If you black, it's got to be about drugs. I got my own money. I work hard. I ain't had to never sell drugs. I got my own money. I graduated college. I made good money. And my children has never went without anything. They never had to rob. Check his record. He's not a felon. My son ain't never done anything to harm anyone. If anything, he's blessed many people that I didn't even know that come to me and tell me how good of a child my son was, how great of a man he was, how many people he's helped in this community because of the person that he was and the man that I raised. And I want justice for my son. And these type of people needs to be off the street. But who wants to come and tell anything if you have no protection? Where do we go? We need to go back to the drawing board. Why we're not protecting our witnesses? A lot of people get the paperwork. They shout it all over social media. People afraid to come to court to talk or tell you anything because you let everybody know. Then these crumbs are coming back and they're coming after you and your family. So who's gonna tell if we can't be protected? We need protection in this city. People need protection in this city. And we need to stand up. And it don't take everybody, all of us. Whether you're in those communities, I lived there, but my kids didn't. I was raised in those communities, but I wanted more for me. I went to college. I put my kids in a better place. My son died in my hood, where I grew. I didn't grow up there. My mother moved there. But that's where my son got shot there. That's not where he lived. My son didn't even live in the city. My son lived in Charlotte with his family, where they are still today. And he came down here, didn't have his daughter a big birthday party, and we get shot at over 30 times. Wouldn't you think that somebody would be trying to figure out who shot at somebody over 30 times? And you have done nothing? All you say is you have no witnesses. We must go back to the drawing board. We must protect our witness. We must solve these crimes. We have to come up with some solutions. And it's not gonna be just talk. You gotta get out here. Why are you not out here doing detective work? I don't understand why the police department doesn't do detective work. Get out here on the streets. That's what we pay tax monies for. Get out here among them. That's what you should do. Because they don't hold water. Because if my child, he ain't a detective and I'm not one either. I got on social media and once I heard one name that they said shot at us, the detective told me over 40, 50 people said it was him. Yeah, and he was the person broke in my house too. Okay? But I haven't heard a word. We got to do better. I lost my son, but God obviously made this my purpose. To fight for other mothers, fight for other children have live in better communities. Not just my grandkids not in those communities, but I have family members in those communities. I still have family in those communities. Everybody else, children in those communities. Kids shouldn't have to witness gun violence in their community. And we need to either get back on the beat like it used to be when it was about the drugs, nasty killings. We're about to have a pandemic of gun violence. What are we gonna do? We must come to the drawing board and we must get a solution. And it's gonna take everybody. So now I stand before you because now this is my life. Telling my story about losing my son in the city that I was born and raised in, that I thought was my home. But now it feels like it's my enemy. But I want to say, I thank you for your time. I want justice for my son. I want justice for Jalen and all the lost soldiers out here in this city and around the world. God has made this now. I guess this is my calling. I thought my purpose was going to school, being a great citizen, giving back to the community and doing all these great things. But that wasn't obviously my purpose. My purpose here now is to fight for justice for my son, fight for better communities, safer communities for children, and to stand and to be strong and to continue to fight. And he's forever 28, Jalen forever 23. God bless y'all and continue to keep me in your prayers. Thank you.
We will now hear from founders of Hope Dealers Outreach, Frankie.
I sat there, contemplated on this press conference for about a week or two now, a week now. I'm an emotional person, but I never got emotional in front of people but this press conference was to talk about an urgent call. Because as an activist, as someone who know these guys, who know their mothers, who know their children, who know their siblings, I'm tired. I'm tired. People don't know the work that I go through behind the scenes. They see me protesting. They see me protesting. They see me giving food to every community. They see me doing all this stuff, but deep down inside, I'm hurting because every time I turn around, the food given away is not working. The protesting is not working. Every time I turn around, another mother is calling my phone crying. Another child has to ask me why my daddy won't wake up. Another child has to ask me why my mother won't wake up. I lost so many friends and family and community. The reason why I'm doing this press conference is not to point fingers. I'm not here to point fingers at no one. Not a community activist, not a teacher, not a doctor, not a chief, not a sheriff. I don't care who you are. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm pointing fingers at the whole world, at all of us, the whole community, which means we got to do this together. Sheriff Kimber said something a couple weeks ago that sat with me, and I began to cry even more when I started thinking about this. He said, are we going to be my brother's keeper, or are we going to be pallbearers? And y'all, I'm tired. I'm urging you, community, I'm urging you. I don't do this emotional things on TV, but I'm urging you with every bone in me. I am the type of activist who will give his life. I would give my life for this community. I can't tell you how many times countlessly I sat with Sheriff Kimberville. We strategically planned things, but it's not working. And I had to sit around and figure out what is the issue. The issue is it's only a few of us working. But it's going to take all of us to build. And what I'm saying to you, don't let it be a few activists. Don't let it be a few people that's trying to make it work, that's trying to end gun violence, that's trying to bring people together. Don't let it be a few. But I'm telling you, in this call, urgency is to tell you to get up, everybody. Teacher, lawyer, doctor, businessman, businesswoman, law enforcement, city council member, community activist, whoever you are, I'm letting you know now you have a call to do in this community, and I'm telling you now, get up, or blood will be on all of our hands. What is it going to take? Is it going to take for it to be your child? You don't have to be in the streets to get killed by a gun. You know how many people that have been killed down here that weren't even in the streets? But the fact, and this goes back, and I'm going to address this too. An idle mind is a devil's workshop, which means this, is if these kids have nothing to do in this community, we will continue to see murders happen within our community. They have no other choice. I'm saying this to you publicly. They have no other choice but to sell drugs. What jobs do you have for them? They have families too. They don't wake up and go get coffee at Starbucks. They don't wake up and be able to drive freely downtown, walk in a nice office. They don't know nothing about that. You have to go back to where they come from. They didn't grow up in the suburbs. They grew up in the trenches. And when you see me, I speak on behalf of the trenches. And I'm urging this community, and the matter of fact, I'm urging the city, build more jobs. You wonder why we having killers? Killers always start from money, material things. So I'm telling you, we gotta build more jobs. You tell little Ray in court, Ray, when you go out here, I need you to be an upstanding citizen. I need you to find a job. Little Ray, go through a weak temp agency that this city has set up for them. They get them in a place where they feel like they're going to be at this job for a while. They out of nowhere, 6 months later, they tell them they got to let them go. Now, you literally just made that man feel less of a man. Now, he goes back to the streets. So, where is he now? He's either in the grave or in jail. I'm urging the community. If you're a businessman, businesswoman, it's time for you to step up. Provide a way. Make a way for them. Because I am tired of these killers. Tired. So I didn't come here to point fingers. And I want to say this publicly because I give honor where it's due, and I'm a real person. Everybody will tell you that I'm going to call it like I see it. I don't care. If it's a pen, I'm going to call it a pen. If it's a remote, I'm going to call it remote. I want to say publicly that Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough has been doing a tremendous job. Tremendous job.
Yes.
This man opened up his door, sat down with me, heard me, had a conversation with me, and we're trying to find a way strategically how we're going to beat this gun violence. I would say publicly. I commend, and I let everybody speak their truth. Know that. I let everybody speak their truth. You're entitled to your truth. I love that. That's why I brought everyone here, because we all can't just hear from one voice. You got to hear from everybody's point of view. This is my point of view. What I would say is, I am grateful for the leadership of Chief Thompson. Is there more that they can do over there? Of course. There's more McDonald's food. There's more Bojangles food. There's more Hope Dealers can do. And I applaud all of them for their work. But what I'm saying to our chief and our sheriff and to our city council, our city officials, what I'm saying to you is we got to do more. You got to do more. And community, we have to do more. And my goal is to bridge the gap between law enforcement and city officials and the community to figure out a way how to trust each other again. Trust each other again. So I say to you in closing, you got to do your part. As Kimber have said to me, are you going to be a pallbearer, or are you going to be your brother's keeper? Are you going to be your sister's keeper? Don't let it come to your doorstep knocking at your door. Because any day now, it can literally happen to any of us in this room or anyone watching. I want to do things differently. I know Bianca is coming. I want to open up the floor for questions, a few questions from anybody who would like to ask any questions. Very briefly, we went over my time, and I appreciate everyone who came here. I appreciate every news platform who has come to allow us to be able to speak our truth, and I thank you much for coming out. But I'm opening the floor for questions for anyone who have questions.
Yeah, with WXI 12, just wanted to ask, I know you mentioned, you have put in a lot of time and effort, and you've worked with Sheriff Kimber, you've worked with several different agencies, and it feels like it's not working. I mean, where do you go from here when a lot of your efforts, you kind of feel like you're hitting a wall, and every weekend there's still more and more, you hear another shooting or another 2 shootings every weekend. Where do you go from here now that you feel that you kind of hit that wall?
Where do I go from here when I continue to hit that wall? Well, I had this conversation with some of the city officials, with a couple of activists, community organizations here, and what we're doing is we're about to all come to one table. All of us. That's the only way we'll be able to do it, is because the problem is I'm doing one thing in this corner. another activist or organization doing that in that corner. The Winston-Salem Police Department doing this in their corner. The Sheriff Department doing that in that corner. We're all doing it in different steps, but nobody has came to say, hey, let's do it together. It's good. One person voice can do something, but with a village, they can do so much more. You can move a mountain. And so what I would do now is come sit at a table with all of us together. The chief, the sheriff, the mayor, every city council, city managers, every activist. I don't care what you do, we all can play a part. Every little part counts. There's little part. Gun violence is not the only thing. It's so much more. So everybody has a part to play. So that's what I would do now is we got to all sit together and do it together and build strategically a community of peace. Yes, sir.
WGHP, and I want to ask you, because it seems as if the victims as well as those pulling the triggers are just getting younger and younger and younger. How do you guys as an organization, what are some of the ideas to try and reach those younger kids before they start to just result to this way of solving problems?
My grandmother always used to say to me, train up a child in the way they should go and they won't be far from it. With dealing with these kids, mind you, let's say this, the reason why they're getting so much younger, and this is another thing that I want the city to hear in the community, and the presidents of these YMCAs and different organizations. See, when I was growing up, I went to the YMCA. That kept me. That kept me from getting into drugs. That kept me from getting into trouble. That kept me from getting into gangs. That kept me from fighting and all this other thing. The YMCA is not the same anymore. These kids have nowhere to go. Name one place right now that they can go, that low-income families can really afford. See, the YMCA now have so many rules now. So these kids say, oh, they don't care. It matters. I used to be a teacher. When a child feel like you don't care, they don't care anymore. They are done trying. So now what I do is I get with these kids and I try to show them another way. I come from where you come from. I know how I feel to see roaches. I know how I feel to see family members shot. I know how I feel to see first-hand drugs. I know how it feels to sleep in the hood. I know how it feels to be in the trenches. I do. So I want to show them, say, bro, if I can make it, you can do it too. Young queen, young king. I speak that in their life. I speak it over them. And I show them a way. We can't keep talking. You have to be doing. So that's the only way we'll be able to save these children and start doing instead of just talking to them. And we have to build programs that cater to them, affordable, free programs that will help them.
Frankie, where do you see the surge in gun violence coming from?
Harvey, the lack of funding. The lack of funding. If I continue to live in a place where all I see is poverty, nothing around me is up, as the children say, it's up and it's stuck. If I see anything that's up, I don't see anything that's up. Everything around me is down. Mama is not there. Daddy is either dead or in jail. My mom is struggling. She's doing the best she can, to make ends meet. But, now I have to go to the streets and try to make some money. Now I'm making money. I got the chain. I got the car. I got all the girls. I got this, that, and the third. Now it's another person that's in my neighborhood, or not even in my neighborhood, on a different side of town, that says, hey, I don't like how much more money you got than me. I don't like the fact that you got more chains than me. I don't like the fact that the girls that like you, they like me, but they like you more because you got more than me. So now I have to come to your side of town, do a drive out on your street. I don't care if your son is out there. I don't care if there's kids out there. I don't care if it's older people out there. I don't care about any other person. I am coming out there to prove a point to you that I am jealous, envy.
Hey, you better say it.
And now, where is the funding for them? Where is their jobs? So we're going to continue to have the jails keep being over capacity. After a while, the grave ain't going to have any more space. So that's where it comes from, poverty and the lack of funding and resources. All the time people don't need your money, sometimes you just need your resources that cater to us. And when I say us, I'm not, and I don't want, listen, I believe black lives do matter, and all lives do matter, but I'm speaking for the whole community, period. But I can only speak for my culture, from where I am planted. It doesn't cater to black men and women, black boys and girls. It doesn't. We know that. You know that. It doesn't. The system has become that. Not saying the city of Winston-Salem did it, it's just how the world has made the system everywhere. So that's really where it comes from. Yes.
Jennifer, WFNY, it almost seems that there's just this quick trigger reaction and just a disregard for human life.
Right.
Where do you think that's coming from? Why do you think people are so fast to pull the trigger now?
The CEO of Quality Education Academy said to me when I went to the school, he said, self-hatred is real. When you don't love yourself, when you don't believe in yourself, when you don't see yourself being the next thing, when you don't see yourself as a king or a queen, because you're not nothing less, you are a king and a queen, you're royalty. If they don't see that, if it's not in their spirit, that they are great, they are successful, but they're too big now, and they don't get that because, see, you gotta understand this, some of them don't have someone in their ear, versus how I had it. I had a mother who told me I could be great, be successful, but some of these guys and girls don't have that.
And bro, why you right there, can I stand alongside of you while you say that? Because I want y'all to know that this is stuff that goes on in our home. So this becomes a mental thing before it becomes an outside community. So you have to understand, we have mothers in our home. I myself was brought up on a mother addicted to drugs. So mentally, coming from a home mentally and seeing how we survive through that, it's adaptation, it becomes survival. That's where my thing, and to answer your question, I feel like the answer to that would be fear. Because out here, it's so unknown. People will have animosity with people and don't know their intentions on the beef on their end. So of course they're going to protect that's a survival. That becomes survival in how we adapt in our mind, just being of how we were brought up. So I feel like as far as we had families from your family to come to our community and say how y'all got advanced in y'all life as far as this step, we have what we see. So we see that we have parents selling drugs to make money. That's what we think, how we make money. So now it becomes generational. Now it becomes something that we have to break. And it only takes 30 days to break in a habit, right? So how long do you think it takes to break in a habit of years? Of being taught something. We have nothing to look up to but our parents. Our parents have nothing to look up to but their parents. So you're getting passed down generations of survival at this point. And now we have guns being let into our community and young minds who don't know nothing but what they see on TV and what they're taught. So you have rappers and people that they fall interest to that are doing these things and they think that it's okay because we don't have people like y'all in our community to say, sit down, this is what you do, A, B, and C. We don't have people telling us how to invest our money to make more money. You get what I'm saying? We have just the bare minimum, so we have to go out and find these teachings. We have to go out and that's a mental thing. That's something we have to wake up and say, okay, I want better for myself. But we're already in the habit of doing survival. You get what I'm saying? So how do we break the survival mode in our communities and go to building more habits of being successful and love and spreading more love? You have to spread love. When we get into the eyesight of these police, we're hated already, off a rip. I am a victim to gun violence myself. I almost lost my life in April. But I didn't want to speak on that because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to uplift my friend's name who was actually, unfortunately, not here due to gun violence. So what I'm saying is, where we start at is come to our community, get to know us, come talk to us, tell us what y'all did to get where y'all are at. listen to our stories and how heartbreaking and the things that we have been through, and mentally how we've been broke down through generations. Tell us how to get our mental health up, to speak with our kids and raise our kids with love and not survival. I have a black son, and it's scary to me. It's very scary to me, because I know my encounter with police, just for me being black, and I have tinted windows, I got totally harassed for that. You get what I'm saying? It's just, it's discrimination, and it's survival, and it's fear. And that's just all what it boils down to. It's nothing about people are out here just trying to cause turmoil. It's just, we are used to this, and this is our survival mode, and this is how, unfortunately, it's affecting our lives, and it's only affecting our people, because we can't go shoot at y'all. We know that. We'll be dead. You get what I'm saying? But let y'all go shoot at y'all. You get handcuffed. You get put in a mental hospital. You get what I'm saying? So that's where we're at. We're at survival more than we are at anything else. It's a survival. That's all. We have to survive in our community. So that's to answer your question. I would say fear, because you don't know what somebody intended to you are, or what they're going to do. So you react first. And some people might not just want to shoot somebody in the leg and say, okay, back up. Some people might try to kill you. You don't know. You don't know somebody's mental health. So you don't get into those situations, but we don't know no better either. So we need people to teach us these things, and that to be a regular teaching in our school about mental health. That's what we'll start. We teach our brain to react off of certain things. And that's all I have to say. I love you, and I thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. I open the floor for 2 more questions, and then we'll go. Any more questions?
Law enforcement is talking about trying to put more money into more equipment, more officers to be put on the streets, but it sounds as if you're saying we need to redirect that money into the community, into more community programs.
Absolutely. I will say that is a great idea that they're doing, but I will say that's not all. They have more funding to do that and more. That's what I'm saying. So, of course, I feel like they should definitely put more officers involved. But when you put your officers out there, I will say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I will say, when you put your officers out there, protect and serve doesn't mean, I want people to understand what serving means. When you serve, serving means, I'm not talking about serving a warrant. No. When I say serve, it was a guy on Instagram that went viral, an officer who would pull up in different neighborhoods and build relationships with people. I'm talking about pull up with food and, hang out. The kids will run up to his car here and put him in the video and smile with him and ask him what you do today in school, and pulled up and start talking to some of the homies that's sitting outside. He'd already walking up. Yeah, of course, they probably smoking a joint. Yeah, they probably out there drinking, but he didn't look at that. He looking at the serving part.
Come on.
Serving don't see the negative things. Serving look beyond that. So I would say, yes, do that. Put them out there, but don't just be out there just to be out there, but actually be seen in a positive way. And direct your funding to the community. Yes, do it, as they should. So I will say that. One more question? Going once? Twice? Question for the good Lord? Any other? Okay. I thank you all for tuning in with us. In closing, I would really urge you to get involved. I want to thank everyone who's been working in the community. Moms Demand Action, Ms. Nikita McDaniel, Eduardo, Corey McCain, Papa with Enough is Enough, Winston-Salem. So many others at this table, after Brother Muhammad, so many great individuals in this community that's working, and I thank you so much for all you do. Go in peace, and as I say everywhere, love is in love until you give it away. Thank you.